affiliates, how can a main African leadership contribute to this new global consensus on fair taxation? And I would like to know if, from your point of view, does it make sense to continue talking about multilateralism given the recent experience in the G7?
Thank you very much. The issue of taxation is a manifestation of the continuum of injustice that the African continent has been going through for centuries. That's another manifestation of it. Let me remind the audience that for this year, African Union theme is about reparations of all the damage and the violation and the looting the continent went through. And it's not because we want to, recall history endlessly, but that's the consequence of the situation we are living in. So I would have loved that we tax, all that was taken from the country. That would erase our debt, actually. And the situation as we speak, the African Tax Administration Forum, ATAF it is called, is saying us that the continent loses 50 billion per year through illicit financial flow, and much of it from the multinationals. That's the situation we are in. And in this conference, we talk a lot about the debt crisis. That's precisely that money that we don't get, that we have to go and borrow in the international market at a rate 4 times higher than any country in this planet. Another injustice right there. And that's not because we are particularly risky, because all of the African countries do pay their debt on time, although they have sometimes to allocate more than 40% of their GDP to pay their debt. Why? International multinationals that invest in the country don't pay taxes most of the time because they ask for tax break, but they're exploiting our own minerals, our own mines, but they go and pay taxes back to their country of origin. How unjust that can be? I mean, you cannot be more unjust than that. So this is a very critical issue, and then we're going to apply what we continue to do since we exist, which is fighting back, being resilient, and fighting back. We have no other choice, Professor, than doing that. And luckily, we do have a new generation of young leaders in the continent who are going nowadays to fight back. Well, that's what led to the proposition of the African Union about having a UN Framework Convention on International Tax Cooperation. We tabled as African Union the document. And well, of course, we want it to be a binding convention, otherwise it's going to be a pick and choose, and guess very few will pick. A lot of people will sort of ignore it. So it has to be binding. And it's accompanied by at least 2 early protocols, so we made progress, that aim to overhaul global tax governance. And this is what this convention wants to achieve. We don't just want to ensure fair allocation of taxing rights, especially across borders, that's what I just said. Make sure that people pay the taxes where they exploited, the wealth of the people in the country. That makes sense. I mean, it's difficult sometimes even to explain because it's so simple, but it's not happening, unfortunately. The convention would like also to combat tax evasion and avoidance by both corporation and wealthy individuals. I think, Madam Vice President, you talk about why we should be taxing the rich. I mean, another obvious, issue, well, because everybody's paying tax proportionately to what you make. So when you make more money, well, you pay more taxes. I think a kid from primary school should be able to understand that. But unfortunately, that's not what is happening. And we do have the wrong argument saying that, well, if you tax the rich, they're gonna run away. That's not true. There is studies showing that when the taxes are reasonable, they stay because they want to continue to make money. So that's not a right argument. Another argument is to say, well, they were smart enough and they made their money. So why do you want to go after them? But they use the infrastructure that you, I, us, pay as taxes to develop their activities and to make money. So it's only just that they pay more. And of course, they contribute, most of them, if you look into, what they're doing, to the pollution of the climate. So we need to tax them more, so we have more funding to redress, the situation of climate change. So they definitely need to pay more taxes. We should tax the super rich. But the super rich, among which you do have the multinational that need to pay their taxes in our countries. They have to pay that. If you look into the rates, it's between when they escape, first of all, because when they want to sign deal, they like to have 10 years break to begin with, and in 10 years, of course, you do your maximum in terms of profit. And when the mine is about to end, you start paying taxes. That doesn't make any sense, and that is not going to continue because we want to change that. And we hope that through cooperation, through the convention, we will make progress. And we do have a timeline that is going on since last year. The UN Ad hoc Committee finalized the terms of reference. Last December, the UN General Assembly approved the terms of reference and set up an intergovernmental negotiating committee, of course, to which the United States doesn't belong. But we're going to carry on because it's 194 countries, and the maximum would like that to happen. So let's watch out and let's support that initiative, which is a good manifestation, positive manifestation of multilateralism. That's what multilateralism is all about. Let's sit down as a civilized global community to watch about our own interests, but also our common interests. That's what multilateralism is. You gain, I gain. But it's not only, I'm super rich, you remain poor. No, that has to end. Thank you very much.